And welcome to another episode of ArchyFantasies Watches TV. You guys like these videos. So today I'm going to watch a brand new show called Unexplained and Unexplored. I don't know what it's about. I don't know who's in it. I'm jumping into this completely blind. I don't know what's going on, basically. I do know that Jason Colavito and Andy White have both done a review of it, and I figured that if I wanted to stay relevant these days, I should probably do what the cool kids are doing, only I'm one-upping them, and I'm making a video. So y'all get to see me reacting for the first time to this. I don't really know what to expect. I know it's kind of a woo show. I think the quote that I read, and I believe it was Jason Colavito that said it's like a low budget and even poorly researched version of Ancient Aliens. So this should be interesting. So yeah, we're watching season 1, episode 1, because there's only been one season to my knowledge. I don't think I'm that far behind, am I? I think it's just a new show, and I don't think it's that great. Anyway. Unexplained and Unexplored, Season 1, Episode 1, Ghost Ship of the Damned. Let us begin.
Using the latest laser mapping technology,
There it is.
we'll navigate the unforgiving desert as we attempt to locate the final resting place
I think this is our ship.
of the legendary ghost ship.
I don't know what the legendary ghost ship is. So I guess whatever it is, it's... Well, it's unexplained and unexplored. I mean... Wow, the answer was staring me in the face this whole time.
Our world is full of mysteries that time forgot,
Is it?
but maps hold the answers if you know how to read them.
Ooh, we're doing a map thing! Okay, first off, I love maps. I think maps are cool. I've always had an affinity for maps. I don't know how to read one other than, like, the squiggly lines get closer together when death is occurring and get farther apart when you're going to march forever. And I know where north is. And that's horrible, as I'm an archaeologist. I know how to read a map. Anyway, I like how so far the introduction to this has been a direct ripoff of America Unearthed. And maybe that was the actual quote, is that this is a cheaper, less researched version of America Unearthed. And I apologize if I ruined the quote, but it already does kind of look like low budget. I appreciate this clearly reproduced map. Ooh, I'm gonna go get my map. Hang on. Okay, I got my hat. This is my official adventure hat because it's a pith helmet, and every good archaeologist has a pith helmet. And then I've got my I don't want to ruin it, my ancient reproduction map of Germantown Avenue. Fun part about this map is it's not even accurate to real Germantown Avenue, to be fair, because there's way more houses than this on this map. But most importantly, since we're going someplace unexplored and unexplained, we have a mapping well, this isn't a mapping compass. We have a compass. It's a sighting compass. Ha! Got it. All right, this is my actual sighting compass. Ew, I've ruined the mirror. Wow, you poor baby. Hey, the bubble shrank. That's good. This is my actual compass that I actually use when I actually work. Yeah. Alright, so I'm not closing that all the way again because I don't want to look like an idiot trying to open it again. So I've got my map, got my compass, got my hat, did my makeup, put my hair up for this crap. Let's do this, boys. I don't even know who these guys are.
I'm International Explorer Justin Fornell. This is the kind of spot people would have taken shelter. I've led scientific expeditions around the globe.
You have?
And served as a fellow in the famed Explorers Club. I use my collection of ancient maps to unlock the secrets of our world. This might not be a legend or a myth. This might be historic fact. Along with
I don't know what any of those things are.
my partner and expert guide, Emiliano Rupra, who's forged a career in the most dangerous places on Earth. We'll follow clues left behind in ancient and modern maps. As science advanced, so did cartography. To unearth lost relics.
That was profound, sir. As science advanced, so did cartography. I mean, if you're talking about GIS, yeah, I guess.
Uncover forgotten civilizations.
I don't think he is.
And solve humanity's greatest mysteries.
Gotcha.
Where X marks the spot.
Okay, first off, we already know that X never, ever, ever marks the spot. We have all seen the third Indiana Jones movie. I'm just saying, if you're going to rip off an icon, you may as well follow the long-held advice of Dr. Jones, and that is X never ever marks the spot. Wouldn't that just make life so much easier if it did?
For decades, there have been rumors of a British ship filled with treasure.
Sure.
Buried somewhere in California, hundreds of miles from the sea. Question is, could a centuries-old ship have met its end in the middle of the desert?
Alright, so what do we know?
I love this guy's drama. I'm going to work to emulate him. I'm going to work to emulate him. Shatner, eat your heart out.
Well, the story we're looking into here starts November 4th, 1587.
What even is this map he's looking
called
at?
Content plunders a Spanish galleon off the coast of Baja, California.
Not an actual...
$40 million in gold. And then, poof. Is never seen again. Vanishes.
I'm going to guess. This is my prediction. Since this ship supposedly has $4 million of gold on it, and there are sequels to this episode, I'm gonna guess they don't find the ship or the $4 million in gold. That's my guess. Because if I had $4 million, I don't think I'd be doing this. Not this show.
So it's entirely possible these guys get lost out at sea. But how does a ship end up marooned in the desert?
This is like a YouTube video that somehow made it to the big time.
Check this out. If we look at a modern map, the Content sails north up through the Gulf of California, which at the time is known as the Sea of Cortez. But as we can see, no exit. So why would a ship...
That dude has a very heavy finger.
filled with millions of dollars worth of stolen treasure, essentially sail right into land?
Oh, now it's stolen
Sailors
treasure.
of that time period would have been at the mercy of their own navigational charts.
Yeah.
So if we want to get into the mindset of these guys, we need to look at navigational charts from the air.
So here we have a Spanish map from 1657 made by Nicolas Sanson.
Is it the map that this ship used? Because otherwise, I'm lost already.
In which California is clearly depicted as an island.
We obviously know that California
There's a
was
joke there.
never an island, but if the crew of the Content were going off a map like this, they would have easily thought they could have made an escape by heading north.
Exactly.
And then somehow managed to sail the ship hundreds of miles on land? I'm saying that is some heavy headwinds. I'm just really strong headwinds and really good sails.
Exactly. But just as science advanced, so did cartography.
Oh, I'm gonna love this line.
Just 50 years later,
I like how he...
we have this map from 1702. made by
Can I do that?
Eusebio Francisco Tino, you can see clearly that California is no longer depicted as an island.
Clearly.
This is one of the first maps in history to really dispel that myth. When we put these maps side by side, they begin
Probably
to tell
because
a
it's
story.
the first map in history where people actually made it to
Centuries ago,
California and
the Sea of
walked in.
Cortez may have extended hundreds of miles north into what is now the California desert. But is that even possible? Could the Content have sailed into those waters never to return? We need to follow the clues in this 18th century map to find out.
Wait, so are we going under the premises that the Sea of Cortez is actually bigger than it was mapped and then since has shrunk and therefore this ship of the damned sailed into the at one time larger Sea of Cortez and then the sea vanished while the ship was in it? Is that... You know what? I've heard this argument. I've heard this argument somewhere else. And I'm 80% sure that I heard it on America Unearthed. Not 90. Definitely 80% sure. And I'm not being facetious. I mean, I think I've heard this argument. Now it's starting to click. This vanishing overnight sea.
Already, you can see the landscape changing.
We're getting out there now.
I've set up a meeting with Tim Krantz. He's a geologist. He is going to help us see
I
what
know
this
that
area
name
was
too.
like 300 years ago.
The science is going to answer those questions of, is this possible?
Absolutely.
We're deep in the California desert, over 250 miles from the nearest ocean. But according to centuries-old navigational charts, this area was once completely underwater.
Was the area actually underwater, or was the area presumed to be underwater? Those are two different statements. And both things would affect how a map of an unexplored area would look. There could have been the assumption that that area was underwater based on lack of investigation by the person creating the map at the time, because I have a very hard time believing that the California desert was an ocean deep enough for a large rig boat to sail into the middle of. Because keep in mind, for this ship to vanish the way that they seem to be proposing this, the ocean would have had to have dried up like literally overnight after the ship sailed into it. So keep that in mind. And onward.
Dr. Krantz?
Who?
Emiliano, I presume?
Good to see you. Good to meet you.
Oh, he
Dr.
can actually
Tim
say his name,
Krantz
sorry.
is a professor at the University of Redlands and a leading expert on the California desert.
So where are we going, Dr. Krantz?
Why do I know?
Up there.
Bit of a
I think
hike.
at this point I'd have all these people's names memorized, but I don't.
Yeah, look at this.
Wow,
Wow.
unbelievable.
Oh, it's a light spot. I was like, what
I
the
mean, to
hell
look
is
around,
that?
this is as dry, as desolate as one can imagine.
About as dry as it gets.
Is it possible that this whole area would have been underwater at some point?
Let me show you something. Look at that.
I mean, okay. First off, every part of the Earth was underwater at some point. That, him answering yes to that question in no way supports the idea that a large, frigate sailed into the California desert ocean. Every exposed piece of land on this planet was at some time in the geological history of this planet underwater. At some point. Was that point any time during human history? No. Anyway. This also doesn't support the Great Flood idea. What it does support is the tectonic plate theory, which I'm pretty sure is right. my wording for that, not the theory.
Wow, look at that right there, that stripe. Is that the high water line?
So that's the high water line.
Wow.
Extending all the way over into that.
yeah.
Look over here at that point. I mean, you can see it looks like it's drawn on there.
Right, it's super clear.
So imagine that under 275 feet of water.
Wow.
Crazy, dude. When last
definitive
was
line.
the water on this line?
So based on our carbon dates, 1500 to 1750.
Well, that's our zone.
That's our time zone.
Really?
According to Dr. Krantz, when the ghost ship disappeared in 1587, along with its millions in bounty, this whole area would have been filled with more than enough water to make it navigable by
I'm sticking by my previous rant.
ship. And, you know, my map wasn't as inaccurate as we thought. I mean, if the Sea of Cortez extended all the way up to where we're standing, our boat could have sailed right in.
Well, not quite.
Oh.
This was actually an inland lake called Lake Cahuilla.
So this was its own body of water separate from the Sea of Cortez.
Yeah.
According to Dr. Krantz, the body of water that once filled the basin was a self-contained lake known as Lake Cahuilla, and was separated from the Sea of Cortez, where the ghost ship was last seen.
I stand by my earlier rants.
So it would have been technically impossible for a vessel to cross the Sea of Cortez to this area.
Well, there's one more piece of the puzzle.
Can we talk about how much I freaking hate this narrative tactic that every one of these shows uses? I understand they're doing it to create mystery and suspense and like cliffhangery kind of things, but probably the problem is I have watched too many variations of this exact show, so like now it's just cliche. And I'm ruining my own fun.
We're heading to the University of Redlands, where Dr.
That
Krantz
says
has
University
spent
of Redlands.
decades charting the California desert's past. His proprietary animated map of Lake Cahuilla could be key to picking up the ghost ship's trail.
If it's proprietary, why are you showing pictures of it on the television?
Okay, so this is Lake Cahuilla, around the 15 to 1700s, separated from the Sea of Cortez by this land right here.
Right. When Lake Cahuilla fills up all the way to its brim, it overflows, and you've got an inland passage between Lake Cahuilla and the Sea of Cortez.
Big enough for a ship to cross.
Yeah, easily 100 feet across.
So if the time
100 feet across, sure, but how deep is it? It's not about how wide.
is right, I could make it from this point to this point.
Oh, absolutely.
This was full, and these tributaries would have existed.
Right.
Well, if I'm going off these old maps that portray California as an island, I'm going to assume that's an extension of the Sea of Cortez. And
Right, that's your connection.
Wow.
So right there, you just heard him basically admit that any of the maps that are depicting the Lake Cahuilla being part of the Sea of Cortez is based on an assumption that the two were connected and not actual fact that the two were connected.
So, looking for an inland passage back to the Pacific, they're exploring Lake Cahuilla, and they go all the way to the north, and it's a dead end. So they circumnavigate back down towards the entrance. In the meantime, these smaller distributaries are filled in with sediment. That could happen with a summer thunder shower.
Mother Nature's locked the door.
They're stuck.
Is he saying this actually happened, or is he saying this is a hypothetical and this is badly edited? I guess I shouldn't say badly edited. I should just say deceptively edited. Because it sounds to me like he's speculating, but the way they cut him in makes it sound like he's saying the ship actually did these things.
So you're saying that during the time period we're talking about, our ship could have come up through
Could
here
have.
and not been able to get out again.
Absolutely. They would have had to ditch the ship somewhere between the southern tip of Lake Cahuilla and these distributaries that would have filled up with sediment.
I mean, that's uncanny.
I'm still not convinced the ship could have sailed through the water being... I don't think the water would have been deep enough. Like, that was part of the reasons why Viking ships were so good at getting inland, was because they were flat-bottomed, and that was kind of revolutionary and allowed them to sail in shallower water. And we're talking about a pretty big ship, I think. I'm not really sure how big of a ship we're talking about. A boat. And yeah, depending on how big it is, it's gonna need a depth in order to not drag the bottom of the boat along the water. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I know a few things about boats.
This is an incredible discovery. Based on Dr. Krantz's map, we now have scientific proof that the area between Lake...
I'm gonna do... I don't understand what that had to do with anything.
Kauai and the Sea of Cortez could be where the ship disappeared nearly 500 years ago.
And now I know I've heard
That
this
on
on
a modern
America
map gives
Unearthed.
us a 60-mile search zone from El Centro, California to just south of Mexicali.
I mean, it's only 60 miles.
That's your
Squared.
search area.
Looks like we got our marching orders.
What is with the pseudo-military thing? Like, the last two news shows I've seen that have had guys in them, dude bros. I mean, these two fall squarely into the dude bro genre. At least one of the guys on this show has been using military lingo or lauding that they were ex-military. Like, if you are of a certain age and you are American, you probably, well, and are male, you're probably ex-military, because there have been non-stop war for, what are we going on, year 15 or something crazy like that? Plus, before that, there was, like, what, the two Gulf Wars plus the Afghanistan War, or was one of those the same thing? My point is, we've had enough war in my lifetime that if you're anywhere near my age and you're male, you're probably ex-military of some variety. But anyway, I don't know why that's bothering me. Probably because I don't like it when people, like, I don't know. I don't like when people exploit the military. Anyway, military personnel.
I mean, this is potentially
not the military.
where our crazy pirates could have sailed their ship, and now there's nothing.
It's amazing, this area. If you look around, I mean, this used to all be tributaries. Now it's just desert as far as the eye can see.
Dr. Krantz's map has narrowed our search to a 60-mile area, but that still leaves 38,000 acres of California desert left to explore.
It's a little foreboding, isn't it?
No man's land, you know?
So we're heading 33 miles west of El...
Okay, I am kind of impressed that a lake apparently just evaporated in 500 years. I guess that's not really that crazy. I mean, that is 500 years, so... But still, it's kind of weird. And it's been gone for more time than that. It's not like it evaporated yesterday. So I don't know. I guess I'm a little impressed by that. Should that turn out to be true, I don't have a reason to question it just yet.
El Centro to meet with a local explorer, Robert Marcos.
Couldn't possibly meet with another expert.
Robert? Yes.
He knows this area better than anyone else and can hopefully help us zero in on the ghost ship.
So, Robert, we're on the hunt for this lost ghost ship. So we've narrowed our search zone, but we still don't have
Not being mean, Robert kind of looks like Bill Nye the Science Guy.
any evidence that the ship was actually here. If the ship was in the area, would there have been anyone here to see it?
Fortunately, the Kumeyaay lived here for thousands of years, and they
God,
kept
even
a
sounds
record
like Bill Nye.
of monumental
Get that man a bow
events
tie.
carved into the rocks called petroglyphs.
During the 16th century, hundreds of native Kumeyaay people called this land home. If there was...
They call them petroglyphs. Sorry.
In fact, a British ship that ended up marooned in this area, these locals would have certainly seen it.
Ken, where are we right now?
We're up here at the Davies Gate.
Okay.
Using a modern topographical map, Robert gives us our marching orders.
If you make a 6-mile hike
Stop
down
that.
Davies Valley,
Okay.
you'll reach the
Is he
mouth
not
of
going
Pinto
with you?
Canyon. This is ground zero for petroglyphs. If you go there, I believe you could find something that's going to help your investigation.
What do the petroglyphs have to do with anything?
Yeah, it's supposed to be the mouth of Pinto Canyon.
It's at least a 6-hour hike to the Cumier petroglyphs, over extremely rugged terrain in over 100-degree temperatures.
We're in the middle of literally nowhere. This is the hot desert between Mexico and the U.S. It goes
I'm guessing since you also have a large camera crew with you, you probably didn't hike that whole thing.
straight up. This is a harsh habitat. I've done a lot of exploration in the Sonoran Desert. I've been to the Piñacata Desert. I've been to the Sahara. And trust me, this place is no joke. Careful.
I don't not trust you, and I don't not believe you. I just don't understand what the flexing of the man card is all about. Okay.
Alright, I'll follow you.
It's a rugged terrain.
Keep your eyes peeled. Certainly the snakes.
I should've got my man wig out. Okay, next to one of these I do, I'm doing in my man wig. Oh, it's a
The most important
Scorpio!
is that we're away from hell. So you're 8 hours in and you get bit. There's nowhere to go.
Except for the
That looks
helicopter
a little
that
more
brought you
stable on
in.
that side.
Yeah, I can work this down here.
We're over 7 miles in, and there's still no sign of any petroglyphs. And there's no telling if we're ever going to find them.
You guys don't really look like you're looking
The
for them
sun
either.
is
You
just
look like you're just
brutal.
kind of slipping and hiking around.
It's a bit of a wild goose chase. If we do find the petroglyphs, which I hope we do, I think really our biggest challenge is making it out there in time and coming back before the sun goes down.
Why? Just camp.
Keep going straight.
Straight down here to the right.
Hop right into that wash and
Did you
hopefully that'll
not
take us
bring
where we're
enough
trying to
food
go.
and water to survive the night? I feel like that's poor planning.
Hey, look. Oh,
I mean, what do I know?
it's all petroglyphs right here. Whoa.
They call them Oh no, not that thing! Oh god. Why? Now I know I've seen this on America
This is our
Unearthed.
ship.
And now I know the whole thing's bullshit. I mean, not that I thought it was real, I just, like, now I recall this whole thing from America Unearthed, and
Following clues in an 18th
Can I
century Spanish
see
map,
this?
we are on the hunt for a ghost ship buried in the California desert, loaded with millions in gold.
no offense, guys, this is slow
To
as
pinpoint
fuck.
its location, Emiliano and I have come to Pinto Canyon to search for ancient carvings that may, help us find it.
Look. It's all petroglyphs right here. Wow.
They may bleep out their swear words, but I'm a lady, and I'm gonna fucking swear whenever I want to. It's not like this is monetized.
The native Kumier people who lived in this area for thousands of years.
That literally looks
left
like someone
behind
took chalk
records
to it.
carved into the rocks. A map of their most important events.
This looks like 3 masts coming out of a sailboat.
And we may have just found one that proves our ship was here.
What are these oars? Maybe these are oars, these little lines? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, this is like if you were doing Pictionary.
Right.
You'd make like the little round bottom of a boat.
Right.
3 masts coming up.
And here are the 3
Sails. This artist saw this.
Look at that.
I gotta take some photos.
I love when they tell
always
us
like
what it's
photographs.
supposed to be.
You know, the more you look
Like,
at
we
it,
can't
it was
look
like,
at it
okay,
our own
they're
damn
drawing
selves and
something real
figure
here.
it out.
Could be the very first piece of evidence of the Kumeyaay people having the first sighting of the ghost ship.
What if this right here is our ship?
Dude, if this is our ship, we found, like, the first solid piece of evidence.
No, you
I think
didn't.
we might be onto something, man.
No,
To
you're
decipher
not.
exactly what this petroglyph is telling us, we're heading back into town to meet
Telling
with
you
an
you're
expert
gullible.
who may be able to verify whether this carving is authentic and if it's actually our lost
Shetland
ghost ship.
Island, Shroud Turn.
Love the signage. That's me, that's you.
This is why. Wow.
Here we are.
Really?
How you feel from that hike?
It's exhausted, man. Exhausted. I hope we got something here, otherwise you can do that hike on your own, buddy.
Do this the hard way.
John? Yes, sir.
Damn it, Ken, why couldn't you have put these in order by
Glass
region?
is a maritime enthusiast who has spent decades studying the Kumeyaay people and the petroglyphs they've carved.
So, John, I took some high-res stills of the petroglyph. I really hope they mean something, because it's nearly impossible to get there.
Rough country out there, isn't it?
Yeah. This is what it looked like.
Yeah, that's the one that got us pretty excited.
Me and Justin have been after this ship, so the ship is on our minds. Clearly, we're going to see a ship in a petroglyph.
What do you think?
Always on my mind.
So to me, there's a lot of clues here.
How so?
There's nothing that I know of in the Kumeyaay culture that this would represent. It has nothing to do with the natural earth that they deal with.
We're
This
only getting
is, hey,
3
we saw
sails.
something.
There's only the one
I don't know what
sail,
it is,
maybe.
but this is what it looked like. It's a ship.
We're definitely onto something. But when we compare the petroglyph to a 16th century British ship, things start to come.
What 16th century British ship? You do understand that there was like multiple 16th century British, French, Spanish ships in general, right? We do understand this, correct? Ken, it's time to update this. Or just, why don't I own this in digital? But anyway, my point being, oh, the face on Mars. My point being, I don't think that's a real petroglyph. I'm pretty sure that is a fake one. I know that was very clarifying, but I'm pretty sure it's a modern fake. Like, the thing itself is, like, at this point, now an actual antique, but it is not actually connected to Native American tribes in the area or ships.
Interesting
But,
comparison. To me, what I see are 3 sails.
Yeah.
If you look at this, that would
Where
have
are
3
you
sails.
getting 3
You have the main
sails?
mast with a second sail up here, and then you have the oars down
Oh,
below.
I see what you're trying to
Even
say.
the shape of the ship. You see the similarities?
Down to the oars, which is
No.
just crazy.
It's a ship.
I
What else
see
could it be?
boxes.
The petroglyph was meant to be seen, it was meant to be recorded, and it was meant to be passed down. It's a Kodak moment in the Kumeyaay history.
John, this is great. But is there anything else that points to the ghost ship
You know, oddly enough, this is one of the few times I can't just make my generic white guy reinterpreting history. Interpreting is a word, by the way. Crack, because as far as I'm aware, they have a non-white person on the show. So interesting. See how this goes. Unfortunately, both of their voices sound alike to me,
In
so
this
I
area.
can't tell which one's talking.
There are some more
without
pictures I'd
looking.
like to show you of an expedition by Sebastian Vizcaino.
In 1602, Sebastian Vizcaino led a Spanish expedition to the nearby San Diego Bay, just 15 years after our ship went missing. Aboard the expedition was a priest named Father Ascension,
Yeah,
who
isn't
kept
that
extensive
supposed to
notes
be
of their
evidence of a
travels.
Noah's
According to
Ark?
Father Ascension, Indians told us the people living inland of form and figure like the Spaniards. They're bearded, wearing collars and breeches and other fine garments like ours. They were foreigners, Dutch or English.
They're saying, we've seen others like you.
Yeah,
We've met them. They live here.
these are Native Americans telling only the second ship that ever came up that area that we know about you because we've seen your people inland.
This could be the crew of the Content.
Wow.
John, did these indigenous people tell Father Ascension where these people were?
They lived about 75 to 100 miles inland from where they were, which is San Diego Bay. That's part of his report.
We see it on the map?
Yeah, absolutely.
Plotting this eyewitness account alongside the location of the petroglyph on a modern map could help us determine if we're searching in the right area.
There's San Diego Bay right there.
Yep. Where was the petroglyph? Right about here.
84 miles. I mean, that really kind of brings everything together.
I get 10% of the treasure.
Does it?
The evidence is mounting that our ship is somewhere in the 60 miles of desert that surround where we found the petroglyph. And a rarely seen archive,
Look here.
maybe the key
What?
to finding the X that marks the spot.
It looks like our ship mast.
That's awesome.
Now I know I've seen this, because didn't he, like, find the wood and the farmer
In our
had
quest
built
to locate
a...
the ghost ship buried in the California desert,
built
we're
a
following
fence
clues
out of
in the 18th century
it.
map that led us to physical
So if it
evidence of a
is,
mysterious vessel that
then
could be our
that
ship.
doesn't look like a
You see
ship
the
to me.
similarities?
Sorry.
Down to the oars, which is just crazy.
It's a ship.
What oars?
What else could it be?
But our search zone is still mile after mile of unforgiving desert. So if there's any hope of unearthing the ship and its millions in treasure, we're going to need some help.
You should call Scott Walter. He's already done this.
What is the next piece of evidence? What I want to know.
The El Centro Library has 200 years of records, maps, and periodicals, all on the history of this region. So any written account of something strange in the desert could be here.
Let's see if we can find someone to help us.
Excuse me.
Hi. How can I help you?
So we're investigating a piece of local lore. The idea that there's a ship that was once lost in the desert.
Run, lady.
Is
Run
this a
far.
story you've ever heard anything about?
Never heard about a ship, but back when I was a kid, I remember them excavating out in the desert.
Really?
And they were out there digging for something.
Do you know what time period this would have been?
That would have been maybe 68 or 69.
Is there
Do you remember when you were a child? Well, I guess I'll age myself on national television, but thanks for asking.
any kind of local publications might have been printed in?
We have the Imperial Valley Press on microfilm. It goes back all the way to 1901.
Is there any way we could look through that?
1901, damn.
I do have my library card with me.
So I've got 68 and 69 right here.
Thank you. I love that smell.
History.
Microfiche
Locals digging
does
in the
smell
desert
good.
sounds like it could be related to our ship. But we're talking about 50-year-old rumors. So who knows what they were actually looking for?
How is it related to your ship in any way, shape, or form? Like,
Or what they found.
and why is a 50-year-old rumor not reliable when a 500-year-old rumor is apparently totally cool? And wait a minute, 500? Yeah, now I know this ship.
Nothing, huh?
Stop. Go back to September 2nd, please. Oh, what is this?
Okay, my favorite thing with the microfiche and old magazines and newspapers is seriously the ads. Love me some old ads.
Ships of the desert. Look at this. Since the days when settlers first occupied imperial Mexicali valleys, stories have been circulating that somewhere in the vast desert, a large ship lay buried in the hot sands.
Look,
Yeah, your thing's been around a while. The story you're running on. And also, didn't that say Viking and Norseman?
look here. Moreland Childers, a recognized expert on desert lore, came across a ship's mast, which he thought to be a galleon.
What? That's awesome. This is a dig site.
It doesn't say exactly where it is, but it does say old ship buried in the Mexicali Valley.
This hand-drawn map, forgotten in miles of microfilm, shows that this ship mast was found somewhere.
Hang on.
For, or what they found.
Nothing, huh?
Stop. Go back to September 2nd, please. Oh, what is this? Ships of the desert.
A Viking and Spanish. Dude, why is this backwards? Norseman. So, this article is basically saying that they thought the ship was Norse.
On map, forgotten in miles of microfilm, shows that this ship mast was found somewhere south of the U.S.-Mexico border, cutting our search zone in half, from 60 miles down to 30. And nothing in this article indicates that the ship was ever excavated.
So,
I think our whole ship is right there, buried in the desert. We need to find out.
you know,
exactly
Scott
where
Walter
picture
thought
was
that
taken.
too.
After making some phone calls, we discovered that Moreland Childers, the man pictured to the left of the ship's mast, was a local archaeologist who passed away in 1987. But we were able to track down Edgar Savia, who studied Childers' work as a grad student.
We can be there in about 20 minutes. Does that work for you? Amazing. Okay, Edgar, we'll see you soon.
Hopefully he can shed some light on who Childers was and where he found the ship.
Okay. All rough talk aside, this episode has already been more multicultural than any of the other episodes of this kind of thing that I have ever watched. So I will give you props for that. Props for multiculturalism. Now, if you could have more than one woman in this show, that would be amazing. I mean, Megan Fox was great. She would have been perfect for this. And she doesn't like to drive, so you could still be shown driving.
Edgar?
The hell was that?
Hey, Emiliano, nice to meet you.
Justin Cornell.
Nice to meet you.
Nice
Thank you so
hair,
much for meeting
Edgar.
us.
Seriously.
Such short notice, man.
Yeah,
Really
no
appreciate it.
We were really excited reading that you had done such an extensive study of Childers' work. What can you tell us about him? Who was he?
So, he's a really interesting guy. He was a professor and amateur archaeologist, famous for his desert excursions in really remote areas. And all of his spare time is basically spent in the desert. Really made his name by discovering these two skeletons called the Yuha Man and the Truckhaven Man. It turned out the Yuha Man's initial dates were 12,000 years old.
What? Wow. So it sounds like he made some major finds.
Yeah, and that was really what blew up his career. As a matter of fact, he was one of the founders of the Imperial Valley Desert Museum, and that's where his collection is today.
Collection? You mean his entire collection is in a museum somewhere?
Yep, all of his stuff.
He's on display?
But most of his physical objects and documents have not really been systematically gone through.
It's not cataloged.
It's not cataloged, no.
Items.
There is 100 plus boxes.
Have you gone through all of it?
Nope.
So you're telling me everything Childers wrote, everything he saw, everything he found is inside those boxes?
To the best of our knowledge, yeah.
Whoa. This is unbelievable. You have more than Childers.
This guy's doing a really good job, by the way. The guy they're interviewing, so serious props to him.
Now, the man in the image, next to the shipmaster in the desert, his collection is life's work, sitting forgotten in the storage room.
It's not forgotten if it's in storage.
If we can get access to it, there has to be something that's going to lead us to this ship.
We
need to look at those boxes.
Zen place. Zen place.
Using an 18th century Spanish navigational chart
That was wrong.
and a geographic map from a 1968 news article,
Which is hand-drawn and inaccurate and doesn't have any kind of way to, like, place it on top of a real map of the real world.
we're closing in on the lost ship buried somewhere in the Mexican desert.
You're not. You're not.
Everything Childers wrote, everything he saw, everything he found is inside those boxes.
To the best of our knowledge, yeah.
Edgar Sevilla is a researcher who studied the work of local archaeologist Moreland Childers, the man who discovered a ship mast in the middle of a nearby desert. According to him, there's a massive untouched archive of Childers' belongings at a nearby museum.
No, that's not what he said. That is absolutely not what he said at all. That is not even close to what the man said.
That could reveal where he found this ship.
Is there any way you can get us in to take a look at those boxes?
I think I could pull some strings.
That would be...
They're not hard strings to pull. You usually just put in a research request.
At first light, we had 27 miles to the Imperial Valley Desert Museum.
I swear to God, if they zoom in on that frickin' map one more time, it just... I gotta put that in my next video. Anyway, that was childish. I apologize.
Edgar has been able to secure us unprecedented access to Childers' never-before-seen collection.
Stop!
Our job here is to make sure that we preserve these artifacts for generations to come. So when we're handling them, we have some procedures that we got to go through. So if you guys want to grab a pair of gloves right over there.
Due to funding, the museum has never had the resources to properly catalog Childers' artifacts.
That I believe.
Until now.
Today is the first time that we're actually going through these collections. You guys are making history.
We're thrilled to have access.
I honestly believe that, because we have a problem in archaeology when it comes to storage and preservation, because there are more artifacts than there is time to process. Which is why, so that sounds bad, but it's not as bad as it really sounds. What that means is that when we collect things in the field, we have to be much carefuler about how we collect it and how we store it. Everything's usually stored pretty well. I'll be interested to see the condition of these if they actually crack the boxes open. They look like they're in acid-free boxes, which is a good sign for me. Except for that black one, but that might be another archive box. So at least they're being stored in archive quality boxes here. And that means that they are serious about preserving the integrity of the artifacts that are in there. But I really wish they'd quit doing this forgotten and lost to time in the bowels of the museum stuff, because it's clearly they weren't forgotten. Clearly they're not lost. Clearly they know where all of these artifacts are, or else they wouldn't have been able to pull them up for you on a moment's notice so that you could go rummaging through them.
There's gonna be so much stuff in these boxes, but imagine if there's actually parts of the ship.
That's huge.
Yeah. Any one of these boxes could be hiding the answer. That
You know what
breaks
I'm
this
not
mystery
seeing is that
wide
ship
open.
mast.
All right, let's take a look, see what we have here. Wow, look at those.
That's really neat.
The handwriting, that's original Childers right there for you. That's his handwriting.
That's kind of cool.
What is that? Oh wow, check that out.
What is that? Childers actually came up with a new type of tool called ridgebacks. Whatever that's. The collection is truly incredible. I mean, it's Moreland Childers' entire body of work. There's bones, there's ancient arrowheads, stones, and artifacts, and pottery. I mean, it's really impressive. But none of...
I also want you to note that as they're pulling things out, everything's clean, everything's in some kind of a box, everything's bagged, everything's tagged, which means someone at some point has gone through and cataloged and made note of this. This isn't the first time anyone's looking at these artifacts. These artifacts have been preserved for posterity. And so it may be the first time anybody's going through these in a long time, and it might be the first time the catalog has been seen in its entirety all at once, but clearly people have, and modernly, have gone through and preserved this collection, because those archive boxes are new and these bags are not old. I'm just saying.
None of this stuff has to do with a buried ship. Let's slide these on down here, make some room for the next set. Just to keep on digging.
These look like more ceramics.
That's more ceramics, man. And some of these actually still have tags that you can tell us where they're coming from, and the date, November 1966.
Let's open this box. Got some photos.
Look at this. It looks like some kind of personal journal.
Yeah.
This could be a good box to look through. To Moreland, the most perceptive mind in the Southwest and a great archaeologist.
Somebody signed
What
a
are
piece
these
of
negatives?
pottery?
They look
kinda
like
funny.
slides.
Some photos. Old
Yeah,
photos.
yeah. So it looks like he has some handwritten notes on them.
It's kind of cool.
What year are you looking for again?
September 1968. Dude, Justin, check this out. So, ship mast, Laguna Salada. Look at this. You see that?
Dang.
I see something in there, yeah.
We can put it on the light box. That'd be great.
Can we turn this on?
Yeah.
There you go. Alright. That's cool, man. This is the same mast.
Dude, it looks like it's the same location.
This slide labeled Laguna Salada looks identical to the newspaper photo we found from 1968 of Childers pulling something from the desert. It's clearly the same ship mast photographed from a different angle. Further
is
proof
it?
that he never unearthed the vessel. Wow, look at that. I mean, that's the same ship, that's the same mast.
That's pretty awesome.
Laguna Salada. Is that where the picture's taken?
It could be the location of the ship itself. We need to figure out exactly where that place is.
Yo. You guys are gonna wanna check this out.
What is that?
It's literally says buried ship.
On what? Where?
What?
Right at the bottom there.
Right at the bottom.
Handwritten says buried ship right at that little bend there.
That's Childers' handwriting.
What? Wait. Deep in Childers' archives, we've discovered a topographical map with hand-drawn notes that appear to show the exact location of the ship.
It's right next to Laguna Salada.
A literal treasure map. He wrote buried ship on the map, and on there it says Laguna Salada. This is right at the mouth of this dried-out riverbed.
Look at that, Laguna Salada.
I mean, maybe this is where the photo was taken, right at that location.
What we need to do is do just a cross-reference, figure out where our search zone is.
Yeah, let's find out exactly where this is now. This is the first time this map has ever been publicly...
Let's find out exactly where this is now! Because it's going somewhere? Seriously. It's like watching frat boys discover the internet.
seen and puts us closer than anyone in the last 50 years.
Does this kind of looks...
Yeah, I'll show you. You find that bend, man. There's that big bend, and then go inland a little bit.
That's like literally a 4-mile search radius.
We can definitely handle that.
You could have handled the 30-mile one. Shit, I walked that.
Childers' map could be the final piece of the puzzle. This centuries-old mystery is about to be cracked
No, it's really not. You haven't connected any dots here. You've found dots, and you might be onto something with this Childers thing, but I'm like, again, 80% sure that's not anything. But you haven't connected Childers' ship to the, what was it, Spanish pirate ship or whatever from 500 years ago? Like, you haven't connected that. You haven't connected that.
Wide open.
Laguna Salada. We're finding something.
Here we are.
Bienvenido a Mexico, my friend.
We've just crossed the U.S.-Mexico border.
Welcome to Laguna Salada.
And the vegetation
Funny, I didn't see a wall.
is starting to look like Childers' photograph.
Having just uncovered a never-before-seen map that claims the lost Scotia is buried near Laguna Salada in the middle of the Mexican desert.
It's been a long journey so far.
We've just got to stick to our plan of being well prepared and well equipped.
Do they think the mast is just gonna be sticking out of the ground still? Do they really think that? Do they think they're gonna go out here and walk a 4-mile square and just see a ship mast sticking out of the ground? I have a feeling they do. And I feel bad for them.
It's not going to be easy.
This new map has narrowed our search zone from 30 miles down to 4. But this whole area falls in a stretch of brutal, remote desert.
Okay, so yeah, they have narrowed their search area down, but they haven't verified that there's nothing in their original 60-mile square search area either. Like, they haven't done anything. They haven't done any kind of ground truthing or investigation to pretending the ship is real. They haven't done anything to actually eliminate any of those other miles, like those other 56 miles. All they've done is they're basically putting all of their eggs in one basket without any kind of verification. Anyway.
So Emiliano is working his contacts.
Hola María, ¿cómo estás?
To help us hone our search further,
Okay. ¿Y quién es?
our Mexican fixer Maria has tracked down a man named Chava, who has lived in this area his entire life.
Apparently,
Probably.
if there's anyone who can help us, it'd be him.
It's not always archaeologists who make the big discoveries. It's also the locals who live on and work the land.
It's usually the locals, and then they tell us, and we go out there and do something about it.
So this guy could be key.
Also, he's in
¿Sí?
Mexico
Hola
now.
Chava.
Sí?
Soy Emiliano, mucho gusto. Mucho gusto. Soy un amigo de María.
Ok.
Estamos buscando como evidencia de un barco antiguo, es aquí del lago. No sé si has visto algo así.
Ah, ok. Tengo algunas cosas que he encontrado ahí.
Can we see it? Does he still have it here?
¿Podemos verlo?
Sí, sí, claro. Sí, la traigo.
Gracias.
Ok. No la encontraba, pero
It's refreshing that they both speak Spanish.
de hecho la tengo en la repisa ahí.
That was a cannonball.
May I hold it?
Claro.
It's unbelievable.
Cannonball. Cannon.
Alright, cannonballs. So, there were these weapons that were used back in the day. They were called cannons. And the thing about a cannon is that it was really just like a big cylinder that they filled up with gunpowder and then ignited one end and shot a projectile out of the cannon. So in order to, what we called the projectile that came out of the cannon, we called that a cannonball. It's been called that forever. And to find a cannonball anywhere with a colonial history like Mexico is not that weird. Nor is it proof of a pirate ship that's 500 years old. Just saying, cannons were really common.
It's not a ship. ¿Podría ser un cañón? ¿Como una bola de cañón?
Sí, no way.
Do you think the cannonball is from a cannon? Yes, I do.
How heavy is that? Super heavy, dude. Look at all those grooves. man.
It's
This is
made
old.
out
This
of
is really old.
There's no way to know the exact origin of this cannonball.
No, there's
It looks
not.
to be cast iron.
Look at that. So it's like worked.
A metal
Have you never seen a cannonball before?
heavily used in England during the 16th century for mass production of artillery. Everything is pointing to this cannonball being from our ship.
Nothing is pointing to at that cannonball being from your ship. Absolutely nothing. Not even a little bit. If by everything pointing to this cannonball being from your imaginary ship is that it's a pirate ship and you're pretending it had cannons on it, because why wouldn't it? Therefore, the cannonball and the cannon are related somehow in like the having the word cannon in their name, then sure. But as far as having actual evidence that this cannonball goes onto these non-existent cannons on your non-existent ship, you got bupkis.
Did anyone tell you a story of where you think this may have came?
I don't even care if someone told this man a story. He seems like a very nice man. I'm not knocking this dude. It doesn't mean anything. You got no proof that this cannonball goes to anything. I bet if you went out there with a metal detector, you could probably find, 20 more of those damn things.
Came from?
Bueno, pues cuando la encontré, hay una historia ahí de algunos galeones que salieron ahí, que fue cuando salieron huyendo con los tesoros de México.
Incredible. Mira, a ver, vamos a tener que... ¿Aquí? ¿La encontraste por aquí?
Si ves, aquí donde pasas, esta área de la Laguna Salada y esta área de montañas, justo al lado, ahí fue donde la encontré.
So that's dead center in our search. Yeah. I mean, dead center.
I'll tell you what, that was an exercise for my Spanish.
This is massive. We've
I
just
need more
uncovered
practice.
a piece of physical evidence that was found in the exact same spot that Childers' map says the ship was buried. All signs are indicating we're in the right place.
You know what? You know what those signs are actually pointing to is that you've found a flagpole because you've probably found a fort or a battlefield of some variety, and that cannonball is evidence that there were either cannons there or that there was some kind of skirmish there. You haven't proven a ship, and I understand that everybody wants that big old piece of wood to be a mast, but it's quite likely that that was just some place for them to hang a flag, or it's a part of something else, or it could just be a freaking tree.
Now, we've just got to get out there and find the ship.
How do you propose to do that?
I think let's stop the car just a second. Why don't we just pull out the map and see? Alright, yeah. Check it out. So that's where we are right now, and those mountains match up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad I sped this up.
Let's do it. See what we're looking at, buddy. Boom.
Should have sped it up
We're
more.
going to start by surveying this area on foot.
But then I never would
to
have
see how
gotten
the
that
spot where the
Spanish.
cannonball was found lines up with the photo of Childers and the mast.
And just because Bill is not here watching this with me, I must say, backpack.
I just got an eerie feeling that the ship crossed this very path, dude.
Why?
Yeah, it just feels like the right. It just feels like the right area to me.
All right, buddy. Take a look.
What do you know of
Here's
any
the
of
original
that?
picture of
The newspaper.
Why do you have
Childers
that on
standing
the
desert
back
next
of
to
your
the mast.
camera?
So look at that horizon in the picture. Look at that. Clearly, the same horizon we're looking at, and then boom, you've got that chest. And look.
Clearly? Okay, first off, why is that picture on your camera view screen? Why not put it on the computer you clearly have with you so you could actually see the picture? Two, you have not convinced me that this is the same skyline in any way, shape, or form. Three, what?
This expanse there of just flat, salty sand.
Yeah,
It does make
it's
sense.
what the
It's taken
f***ing
somewhere in this
desert
region.
looks like
But I'm
there.
not, it's not like we're standing in the same spot the picture was taken. It could have been taken
Thank
a mile
you.
that way, a mile that way, a mile that way. You know what I mean?
But
It's
you
like-
can't argue this is a good starting point.
Yeah,
Trying to search this massive expanse of sand on foot to find a buried ship would take months.
4 miles. It's a 4 mile square. It's a 4 mile. Oh my god. Alexa, how many acres is 4 square miles?
4 square miles is 2,560 acres.
Yeah.
so we reached out and gained access to the latest high-tech aerial mapping equipment.
Precision Hawk?
Yep.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Precision Hawk is a leader in LiDAR drone tech,
We'll start by getting her unloaded.
which uses a state-of-the-art laser system
You guys, 2 women.
to scan and uncover any anomalies buried beneath the ground.
Were you able to put that in your carry-on?
It'll help us spot anything human-made.
Looks like a helicopter. Hey, it
No,
almost
not
is. The reason
really.
it's so big is because the LiDAR sensor is so heavy that it needs more propellers to create more lift.
You think you can lift up Justin and have a bird's eye view of the desert?
Well, we can sure give it a shot. So we'll fly this whole area and we'll get a 3D
I love this stuff.
model and we'll capture everything. So the vegetation, the natural features, any kind of anomalies that we might see.
So if there's a lost ghost ship here, buried underneath the sand, it's gonna pop out it.
Did he just say a lost? It does say ghost ship.
Hopefully, yes.
Fantastic. Well,
Why
we'll let
is
you
it a
get her up in the air.
ghost ship?
Everybody go ahead and take a couple steps back for me. You got it. All right, props clear. Take it off.
Go forth, my minion!
So it's going to climb to 60 meters altitude, and then it will head out to the area of interest and start its mapping.
Equipped with onboard GPS, the drone will start its pre-programmed flight where the cannibal was originally found, then execute a search outwards, mapping every square inch, ensuring that no stone or grain of sand is left untouched.
Okay, first off, that's freaking cool that this thing is flying on a pre-programmed path, which means they're not sitting there fidgeting with it to make it fly back and forth. It's just doing it. So cool.
We're getting a live feed of exactly what it's seeing right now.
Yep, exactly. It's following the track and the flight path.
Got it.
This is just incredible, man. In the 60s, explorers were using chisels and hammers, you know? It would take a month, sometimes years, to cover areas this size.
All right, she's turning around on her...
Okay, that's the first time I've ever heard the 60s being referred to as basically the Stone Age. Okay.
Last transect now.
She comes.
All right, she's going to land right where she took off.
That is actually really cool. Okay, so there were 2 women, but apparently the other woman's not allowed to talk.
That's that easy.
I can't wait to see what it has to tell us.
That was so cool.
All right, so what are we looking at here, guys?
All right, so I processed the data and what
There
you're
she
looking at is a
is.
ground model of the data we flew today.
That's incredible.
So we found 2 things that were questionable.
Unbelievable.
So this little depression up here measures out to be about 2 meters. That just doesn't look natural to me. And then just south of here, when we measure this out, it measures to be a little bit more significant, about 5 meters.
About 15 feet? Yeah. About 16 feet.
And you can't tell depth, so this could be something sticking out of the ground or just below it.
Yeah, just below it.
But that is a sharp point, right? We're looking at a sharp point. Like, that's clearly something that's man-made.
Is it a sharp point? Tell me it's a sharp point. It's a sharp point, right? You see a sharp point? Sorry. That wasn't nice. Drive as fast as you can. It might run away before you get there.
Has taken us to a 4 square mile area deep in the Mexicali desert. To narrow our search, we've used LiDAR technology to scan the area.
First off, props to them. That LiDAR thing is pretty cool.
That's clearly something that's man-made.
And the results have pinpointed 2 human-made anomalies just a few feet underground. Our own 21st century high-tech map that could lead us directly to the buried ship.
Directly.
With terrain too difficult to navigate by car,
It's like a German chocolate cake.
It's all mud, dude. It's all mud.
we head out to the first anomaly on foot. A scorching 2-mile hike across a dried-out lake bed.
Let's go.
First off, that's a terrible idea. Because quicksand's a real thing. And secondly, what the fuck are you digging? Do you have permits? Do you have permission? Are you seriously just walking out into the middle of nowhere and digging a hole as deep as you can because you've got a LiDAR image? That's not how this works, but you know, what do I know?
Go find the ship.
It's not a shit.
As far as the eye can see, it's like fractals. Every backdrop is like the last backdrop. You know a ship could have come by here.
Absolutely.
not
It just
really what
makes it that much
fractal
more
is.
tangible. Same hill that was here. Looks like the hill we passed 3 minutes ago. It's blazing hot outside. It's like you can almost hear like the crackling sound of the sand. We should pull out the Jeep.
Why are we just watching these two dudes walk through the desert? And why isn't one of them using a compass? Why doesn't one of them have a map? Like, are you telling me they are literally depending completely and totally on a GPS?
GPS if we're getting close. Yeah. West 31, 5306. It's this half moon right here.
Yeah, because you got that big pool of salt, you got two of the tributaries run like a little peninsula.
This is it. I'll mark out a periphery and you can just dig inside.
Okay.
See what we find.
Is this legal?
Because the site is near tributaries, the soil is waterlogged, making it...
Okay, hang on. I need aspirin. I can't do this without aspirin. Bam! Smarty glasses. Alright. The only consolation to this is that I know what they're digging through, like, dirt-wise, consistency-wise, and that shit's a pain in the ass. So I'm glad that they have to struggle for this. Other than that, I don't even understand how they're managing this. Like, this would not be legal in the United States.
twice as heavy and extremely difficult to dig through.
You're not even sifting it.
You can see why Childers didn't take it out.
It's like quicksand.
It is quicksand.
It's 115 degrees out, and after hours of digging, still no luck.
Like, what did you think was
The
gonna
salinity
happen?
of this dried up lake bed itself is enough to just completely dissolve, disintegrate, melt a ship away over time, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Swallowed up by the desert. But I think we should just leave this marked and try another spot. There's nothing here.
We know the second anomaly mapped out by the drone is much bigger, and with any luck, is in less corrosive soil. This could be our best shot at finding the ghost ship.
So quiet, it sounds so eerie, man.
Yep.
This is the area, man.
All right, you want to set up shop here? Does it feel good?
I'll start on the north end, you start on the south?
Yeah,
They don't. I don't even understand like what they think they're doing. I understand that they did their LiDAR thing, and I understand that they got these two anomalies, but they should have been able to map in the anomalies pretty well. Again, they obviously have a GPS because they've referred to it more than once. Why didn't they? Because those people with the drone, they probably either also do something terrestrial, or they've got a partner company that does. Why wouldn't you? So what an archaeologist would do after we got that really cool scan, we'd go out to the area in question and either do a walkover on foot, or we'd bring out some kind of ground penetrating radar or a magnetometer and walk over the area and get an idea of what's under the ground and find the exact spot where the anomalies were and see how much of the anomaly we could find without doing this. This is a terrible idea. Not only is it like they're just randomly putting holes in the ground, and they don't even look like they're digging that deep. They're just, which thankfully, it looks like they're not even going farther than like the blade of their shovel, which is great because they're probably not destroying anything of importance that way. They're just not going deep enough. But on top of that, they keep talking about how hot it is there. There's no shade for them whatsoever. To have a group of people just randomly digging holes in the middle of the desert is a terrible use of manpower. It's a great way to get sick. It's a good way to get nothing accomplished because all of your people are going to drop dead of heat stroke. So what they're doing makes no sense, has no rhyme or reason behind it, and frankly is dangerous and stupid, and I still do not understand how any of this is legal. Still am not understanding how this is legal.
Is right. Back to primitive technology.
We gotta dig fast because the sun is going down quickly.
And I still don't understand what their problem is with the sun going down. You cannot tell me that they walked all the way out here with no food or water or shelter for the evening. I have friends who do this for a living. They're southwest. They're archaeologists who hike. This is what they do. I don't think any of them would be caught dead this far away from civilization without food and water for at least a day, unless they were literally dead.
Let me know if you hit something that sounds good.
Every spot led to this place right here.
What are you doing? What is happening right now? I don't even understand. Like, even looters are more organized than this.
You can see how some could get lost out here.
What are you doing?
It just keeps going.
We've been digging all day in the extreme heat and haven't found anything.
Yeah, no shit.
I'm exhausted, man. We went from a big map to a 60-mile radius to a 4-mile search area to digging a hole in the desert.
Do they understand how much soil can be on top of whatever it is they're looking for in just 50 years, especially in a terrain like that where the soil is transient and like the dirt blows around? Like, I don't know what they're doing. There's just a few more seconds left. I can do this.
It's here somewhere.
What are
For hundreds of years,
you
the
doing?
legend of the ghost ship has mystified archaeologists and treasure hunters alike. But our expedition has uncovered a trail of forgotten maps that has exposed the mystery and...
Oh my god, that was the end!
From discovering pictures of the ghost ship itself to a never-before-seen map pinpointing the location of the buried ship.
No.
That's it.
It was seen before.
I wish we were able to finish the job, but I'm convinced our expedition has paved a path for future explorers to find the legendary lost ghost ship.
Okay. I don't even know what just happened there. I don't even know what just happened there. These two guys just went out into the desert and dug a bunch of holes looking for a ship that they have no evidence of it existing. I just, like... I have no words. There are no words. This was terrible. This is exactly how you shouldn't do something like this. I mean, okay, first off, I am in no way encouraging looting, but I assume that looters are more organized than this. Just from the amount of damage that I know they can do, these two would probably die of heat stroke before they found anything. Like, these are the kind of people that go out into the desert and die because they don't understand that it's hot. I'm speechless. I've got nothing. There's not even any reason to sit here and try to debunk this, because I know that this is something that's come up before in several different areas. I know that particular glyph has been accused of being Viking ships and Noah's Ark, and what's the other one? Oh, evidence of Phoenicians. And so that particular glyph gets connected to pretty much anybody who isn't Native American that you can throw at it. So it should be no surprise that it's also a Spanish ghost pirate ship with $4 million worth of gold on it. I mean, seriously. I know this exact story has been used before by, I believe it's America Unearthed. I'm like 85% sure it was America Unearthed, and supposedly the ship itself doesn't exist anymore because it was used by the local farmer to build his fence and build a house, so he just cannibalized the ship in general. So I don't know, it's just stupid, and I'm sorry that we all watched it, but If you liked this, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram. And if you really like me, you can follow me on Patreon, because then I would like you more. So next time, I'll see you guys next time then.